getting crazy, baby, chill. Don't medicate, just meditate. You waking up now, well, baby, you hella late. Educate, look at what's going on, let it resonate, accelerate. Find your inner hunger like you never ate. Agenda is to push the hate, separate and segregate. Don't celebrate quite yet, the storm is coming, Q, for heaven's sake. Violence that they demonstrate, instigate and penetrate. The values of our country and our God is what they desecrate. My fighters ain't no featherweight, pulling out the seams of the fabric that they fabricate. They feed us lies, manipulate, intimidate through fear and force, forcing us to sit and wait till we come together, congregate, and then we liberate. Praying that you give me strength to find some love amongst the hate, marching on these streets of blood.
Welcome back to the Tim and Steve Show. I am Tim Beard.
I'm Steve Morris.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Tim.
Normally ask you how it's going, but so this morning when it wasn't even as hot in here as it is now, it's really warm in here. We started to do the show. I think we got like 3 minutes in, 2 minutes in, something like that.
I think it was mostly just our greetings and salutations.
Minute, something like that. I got a text message from my son who, I forgot to take my medicine this morning. I take every morning. I was like, hey, can you just have Emilio bring it down to school? And the key to the trailer is where I told him where I was. And so he went down there. He texted me. He's like, trailer's not there. And I was like, what do you mean it's not there? So then I had to stop the show because I call him. Sure enough, well, just an FYI, the show will be full of lots of swears, and this will probably be the show that gets us kicked off YouTube. But so I go down, and some piece of shit lowlife stole my brand new 7x16 enclosed trailer with some tools in it. I mean, luckily most of my tools are in the school, but still probably $6,000 worth of stuff in it. $7,000 trailer I just bought from. It's like Granite State Flurries, basically, over there. And Thursday, me and Lydia finally went up to two sheds because they're built right in Newport, and got a key for the side door because it wasn't in there for some reason. So I said, hey, I just go up and I give him a little number on the door, and he gave it to me. And he's like, oh, you're in luck. It must have been his last one. Yeah, in luck. I think I've used it once. So yeah, Saturday at 7:20 or something like that, well, I'll post a picture. At some point, I'm just giving the PD time to do their thing because Paul didn't want to put the picture out quite yet. Paul's a resource officer. And so, I mean, it's on camera, but of course, it's got a Vermont temp tag, but it's a black jacked up GMC with 4-door, long bed, but it's got a bunch of stickers on the rear window. And you can't really make out, but some skinny guy that apparently has no balls because it took like 5 minutes for him to cut the lock off.
He was pretty weak. He needs to work out some.
Yeah, and then the female that was with him
took him a long time to cut the lock.
Yes,
he was very weak.
He kind of cased out the whole place because you can watch him on the camera go around.
He needs
the
to
whole
eat a little healthier. He needs to work out a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I need to lose a little bit of weight, but he definitely needs to
probably stay off the crack too. That could be, I don't know.
Allegedly,
but him and the girl that was with him are probably professionals because there's a nice block, aluminum wheel chock, like on the wheel. I figured, hey, watching the video, they'll probably forget to take that out. And oh no, the girl went right over, threw it in the back of the truck, made sure.
Yeah, they were a team. Yeah. They knew their roles.
Yeah. So if you see that truck, let me know. You got the PD know too, but all I know is if I see the truck before the PD does, it probably won't be good.
Yeah, I mean,
because let's face it, even if I get the trail back, they probably smash shit out of it anyways. I won't get my tools back there in there. And then the judge will slap them on the wrist anyways and say, oh, you're a victim of the system. You've only been in and out of the system for your whole life, but it's mine and your fault because we're white supremacists. And then this was a white person, just so you know, white. Both people are white crackheads.
Allegedly. Must say that for legal reasons.
I'll say allegedly because I couldn't tell that well with the picture. But
I'm just saying it took him a long time to cut through a master lock.
Yeah, it wasn't even a special.
Yeah, like I whenever I saw the video, I was like, all right, Tim had like a really expensive lock on there. Then you showed me another one that you had bought at the same time, and I was like, was this like high school? I'm pretty sure I could have picked it in less time than it took for him to cut through it.
Yeah, you should have had the girl that was with him come over and cut it.
You should have. He's pretty weak.
Yeah. So
if he's watching this, you're weak, buddy.
Yeah. Reach out to me. Send me an email. We'll meet up somewhere and we
talk about it. We'll work out.
Yeah, we'll work it out. You can. Well, we'll figure out what we're gonna do. Yeah.
It's never a good thing to I mean, what the heck is wrong with people?
Good times.
Uh,
Yeah. So, yeah, so that's how my.
so that's
morning
been our
started.
last 3 hours.
Yeah, pretty much.
Actually, 4 hours because it's noon now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we sat down at 8:09.
Started the show. It was going to be a good day, and it's nice out, and yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of work that I got to get started on. I'm a busy man, Tim.
Yeah.
Got a lot of gardening to do down there. You saw all those weeds.
Yeah, just wait till rain tomorrow, and
Is it supposed to rain tomorrow
Oh, sure.
again?
day ends in Y. It's supposed to be nice today, but finally got the back deck on my house I finished it yesterday. We got a break. The rain stopped sooner than I thought it was going to. I finished the rest of the decking on it, and then me and Andrew were sitting out there last night, and we have these 2 rocking chairs she got a year ago, I think, from like La Valleys. They're on like a discount because they're like $250 a piece or something, but she got them cheaper, and it might have been 2 years ago. I don't even know. And told the lady, I'm like, hey, go grab those. We'll put them up on the porch, and then we can watch Adelina on our play structure. And we're sitting there, and I'm like, man, the thing's 22 by 22 this way and 12 out. But I want to put like a little outdoor kitchen and stuff out there too, with a roof over, And I'm like, I think it's too small. I still had lumber sitting there. I was going to use for the roof, but I'm like, I don't have to use pressure treat for that. So I was like, all right, let's extend this 6 feet. What do you think about that? Okay, if you want to do that. So I'm going to probably later go, when it cools down, because I did it Saturday. I about died out there because the sun is right there. Well, we sat out there for a few minutes this afternoon.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Or this morning, and it was like, whoa.
It's pretty toasty, even with the quote unquote smog or smoke pollution from Canada still coming down here. All of a sudden, now it's hitting us. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's good times.
At least it's not orange. It's not an orange-red colored sky like.
Yeah, I saw some pictures like down Loudon. It was weird looking. I don't know.
Who knows anymore?
But it's funny because now that I've like noticed them, I see this, the chemtrails in the air all the time. Because there's a plane flies through, and you see the exhaust, and in a few minutes it dissipates. But now they fly through and it just stays. That's because they're dumping chemicals out of the back
That's
to
what it feels
mess
like.
with your weather. So
Especially whenever there's like multiple. It'd be one thing, like, oh man, something, maybe it's up higher in the atmosphere, whatever, right? We're not
right, but it's like
atmospheric scientists or anything else like that. But now it's like 12 stripes going across the sky, and they're like crisscrossed. And
yeah,
compared to the normal flight pattern, by the way, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was one thing if every single day it looked like that, but it's not.
right.
It's like I can see planes flying right now, and there's no contrail or chemtrail or any type of trail.
Right.
And then at 3 o'clock today, we can go out there, and there'll be like 5 of them.
Yeah, then it'll rain tomorrow.
And then, like, the thing about it is like, it's not just, like, you can watch them spread almost.
And it's not normal rain. Like, you could say it's a wet summer. We've had wet summers. Yes. But we've never had a summer that I can remember, and I'm 40 years old now, that we've had these torrential downpours as often as we've now. It just doesn't happen. I mean, the last time Vermont flooded and all that happened, that was because of a hurricane. So, Allsted a few years ago, well, many years ago now, had to flood, and that was bad. Like, but those are like once in, they say 100 years, but I'm like, really? Because it's rained hard how many times? And how many inches of rain?
This summer it's like 3 times.
Yeah, someone said Newport has the highest rain amount in the state, I think they said, or something. Of course, they're trying to say we had like 17 inches or whatever, and I'm like, we've had 17 inches since friggin' June 4th. Like, we got 8 inches that one storm the first time Sand Hill and all that washed out.
Yeah.
Well, it's washed out 2 times since then, and it's rained hard. Like, and when that time last week or the week for whatever, when Vermont was flooding and all that bad stuff was happening there, it was still raining hard here. Downtown flooded and everything, but luckily nothing like that. Like, that was really bad. Feel bad for the people over in Vermont right now. And I work in Ludlow all the time. I actually had a customer that was like, hey, we're going to have you come replace the sewer pipe in, I think, next week. And I'm like, well, yeah, okay, but I don't know if we're going to be able to, because Ludlow's probably busy with other stuff. So they may tell me, no, not now. Like, I don't know. We'll see. But
It's just crazy the weather that we've had. People call me a conspiracy theorist, but there's treaties that we've signed where we won't modify the weather in certain ways. So, like, people will say that we're conspiracy crazy, whatever, but they can modify the weather. I don't know to what extent. You can watch them make it rain for the Olympics. They did like a whole documentary on it. So just for anybody out there that thinks that this is crazy town, they can modify it.
I think the military said since 59 or something they've had stuff to be able to do that kind of thing, and then just recently Gates came out, and anything with Gates in it's bad immediately.
Yeah, like immediately reject it and shit on it.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, we can put stuff out in the atmosphere that will dim the sun, and I'm like, oh, well, that's great. So you're gonna play God, and I don't know who authorized you to do that. Like, did we take a vote?
Here's an idea: watch something as childish as The Matrix. What was it? What is it? The Quickening.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Highlander Part 2. It was the worst Highlander of all. Basically, they blanket the sun, and it destroys everything on Earth.
Right.
I mean, it is like the trope of all tropes, is what I'm saying. And then they're literally acting like that's a viable option to block out the sun. What the freak? The sun is where all life comes from. Right. Trees get their energy from the sun. We probably rejuvenate whenever we get sunlight directly onto our skin.
Of course. I mean, that's why people are more depressed in the winter. They don't get the vitamin D.
Exactly.
So you think about it. When one of the theories about the dinosaurs dying is like a comet or meteor, whatever, hit the Earth, and then it caused this big dust cloud, which the sun disappeared for X amount of time. Oh, so do you think that's a good idea to do now? Because
see, I don't think that they really do. I think they're just messing with us all. They're trying to drive people crazy full of like just different bullshit.
Right.
Like you're just getting bombarded with bullshit.
And this is all from
it's not even bullshit. It's horse shit.
Yeah. And this is from a freaking guy that made computers that he technically like stole the fucking
from
design
a
or something.
nerd geek
Yes.
who was going to Epstein Island. His wife left him because he was hanging out with a known pedophile.
Yeah.
Like, stop taking advice from this guy. Like, if you are, then I'm sorry for you. I got no space for you in my life. Not a big fan of Bill Gates or his foundation. No. Sorry.
You seen the Musk and
doesn't mean they don't do good things, but overall, the grand scheme of things, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not discounting everything, but I'm discounting everything that he's attached to and that he talks about. Like, I got
evil
nothing for
piece
that
of
guy.
shit.
He's garbage.
So Musk and
allegedly.
Fucking what's his name there? Facebook boy.
Zucker.
Yeah, he's supposed to do a UFC kind of fight thing supposedly, which personally I think like Musk would really beat the crap out of him, even though he's bigger. But too bad Gates wouldn't get involved with this.
No, Gates. One of the greatest videos out there is Bill Gates getting pied to the face. Little nerd. That was like from the 80s or early 90s. I mean, he is like. Here's the thing to him is like society allowed the news media and Hollywood and all these things to influence all of us at some form or fashion, right? So it's like I don't know. I mean, since Hollywood's been a thing, it's always like glitz and glamour, and they try to get you to want to be that and emulate that. And all I see is garbage trash people that don't understand the way that like America works or the country works, for that matter. Not the way that America works, but the way that the country operates. Like, they're jackass morons. Like, when I was in college, I did a film and politics course where we studied how film and its influence on the political scene and everything. Anyway, long story short, I met an actress at dinner. There was like the 9 or 8 of us that were in this symposium, and they're all asking this actress questions about, communism, and I'm like, so and so a lesbian or what? Because this is like the mid '90s, and they were all still trying to hide it. And I just remember she looked at me, and then my professor was like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "This is an actress. I don't care what she thinks about." I mean, I didn't say it like that, but it was like my facial expression said as much. Like, this is an actress. What the fuck does she know about politics at all? Like, her job is to dance like a monkey on command. Like, that's all an actor, an actress, a model is. They're dancing monkeys. They're told what to do, when to do it, and I like watching these videos where they work on their craft. Like, you're an actor, you do what the director tells you to do, and if you don't, you usually get fired, and then they write a smear article about you. So you're a dancing monkey. So anyway, my point is, we shouldn't listen to anybody. These people shouldn't even listen to us because we're just a bunch of dancing monkeys here. You're the producer of the show. You're the, you know. So I'm your dancing monkey. So am I talking all right? I'm just making a point here. Is at the end of the day, the world is crazy. There's people who have opinions on everything, and form your own opinion, but realize that they're poisoning you in the sky. They're poisoning you with the information that they're putting out on the internet, on the news. It's not all poison, but there's definitely bad stuff out there. Well, and you got to remember, we're all just people. My point is being like, that's an actress. She's just a person like me, so she can have an opinion, but like,
there's no more value to it.
Like, yeah, like
people think it's so valuable. Like, oh my God, that actor, actress.
Like, they were on camera, so they must know more than me. They don't. They're just people like me and you, and we're all jackasses at the end of the day.
Well, it's ironic.
And if you think you're not a jackass, you're definitely a jackass. If you're watching this, you're like, he's not talking about me. I'm definitely talking about you.
Well, it's ironic. So you're on Facebook or Instagram or anything. So I sent Amelia last night and your wife last night this video, whatever, that basically Putin has passed a law, whatever, in Russia that you're not allowed to have genetically modified food anymore. And then, you know, and if you haven't been paying attention, like supposedly,
I think Italy did something similar.
So Biden is like calling up U.S. troops to go to Europe. I'm telling you, we're going to end up in Ukraine soon with U.S. troops, you know, even though that wasn't going to happen. But you watch.
I don't think so. Mm-hmm. Well, when I say I don't think so, I think that most American citizens are going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to go over there. Not for this guy.
I'd hope not. But so anyways, now you kind of wonder, like,
my take on it.
The world's always been against Russia.
I wouldn't.
But maybe the world's against Russia because he's against the big old banks that run everything. He's against like genetically modified foods and like, so maybe that's it. And then you said to me this morning, like, yeah, I just watched a video that Putin's trying to push vaccines on everybody and everything else. Like a complete opposite.
Yeah, I know. That's what.
So I'm like, oh, there's the propaganda, the counter, everything else that's said. Like,
everything is just like, was it Counter Strike? It's just the point, counterpoint. For every good thing, anybody can point out a bad thing. We can do the same to everybody else out there. Yeah. Well, I think what we're trying to say through all of this stuff, though, is between your trailer getting stolen, me meeting some random actress who I'm supposed to care about what she thinks about politics, all that stuff just goes to show is that we're all just trying to figure out this crazy world, and none of us really have the answers. But we do know that you don't freaking steal.
Yeah, and stop stealing my tax dollars and give them to fucking Ukraine.
Right. That's the bottom line of the whole actor story is
yeah. The Pentagon just mysteriously, they recalculated now. We accidentally gave the Ukraine $6.2 billion too much, the more than they said they did, which you know they're not going to get that back. And just to put that into reference, the $6.2 billion, which is only like a tenth of what I think they've given them, or no, I think they've given them almost $100 billion at this point. The whole budget for the state of New Hampshire this year, the new budget that it passed, is $7 billion. And so we gave Ukraine $6.2 billion accidentally.
No, we didn't accidentally. We found it so that we could give it to them.
Oh, is that what we did?
Yeah. So there was an accounting error, and luckily, because of this error, there's $6.2 billion more that we can send them.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I made a mistake there.
So we're sending them our state's budget, basically, on an accounting error. An accounting error made by the Pentagon, who told its soldiers to go on food stamps.
Who recently they just lost.
They said, hey, you know what? Suck it up, soldier. Go on food stamps. We're not paying you enough money. The government the Constitution that you're sworn to protect, that's being betrayed by the political class, because they're betraying the Constitution on a daily basis.
The elites.
And the problem I have is that I dutifully served in the U.S. Army for all those years, thinking that there were real men and women in the general officer ranks who would stand up for America and for our Constitution. And I have yet to see it by any active duty general officer saying, no, thank you, this is bullshit. And we all know that there's a lot of things going on in this country over the last, and it's not just this administration, over the last 20 some odd years, because I probably should have done it a few times when I was, in hindsight, I missed my opportunity. And now I would just like to put that opportunity out there for all of you officers and senior NCOs. Like, this is the country that the Constitution describes to you whenever you sit down on Constitution Day and read the Constitution. The way this government's acting appears constitutional to you, and you're okay with it. Just so we all understand, the highest ranking general officers who have studied more than most people will ever even think about, because they do a lot of reading and studying and they do all this stuff, and they've decided, yeah, this is about right for America. This is good. Let's keep this status quo going.
Right, you swore
I have issue with that. So just so anybody that ever watches this, the 79 of you that are out there that may watch this, if you have any general officers in your family, they need to step up.
Yeah, because you swore an oath to the Constitution, not to the president, not to a general, not to Russia, or not Russia, of course, but Ukraine.
Right, the Russia-Ukraine war.
Right.
Nothing to do with the United States of America.
Right, nothing. So, but like ours, it's our tax dollars. So
this is angry vent. Like, we don't even have any rhyme or reason to where we're going with all of our angriness today, other than the fact that...
No, I do. Stop paying your fucking taxes. Stop paying your taxes. I'm not talking your state taxes, because for the most part, you kind of get that back with school and with roads. If you're lucky enough to live on a road, that's good. No, your federal taxes.
Income tax.
The income tax that they rob you out of your check.
Robbery, it's thievery.
The almost $600 they got for coaching softball this year. Oh, wait, they didn't do that. I did that, and then they took almost $600.
They took that $600 and they're going to give it to
$592.
They're going to give it to Ukrainian citizens. They need it for their pension.
Yes, their pension fund. Yes.
That was actually said by a few months ago, by the way. That's not
Right.
like Steve and Tim making shit up.
Right. If you don't believe this shit, just look at it. And then if you're like, oh, I don't know if I can believe you, well, that's funny, because things that were said 3 years ago that we said now is all coming out. That's all been true. But, like putting masks on kids, no, not detrimental at all. It's not going to bother them at all.
They're learning just fine.
Right. It's almost like it's too bad some citizens weren't standing up in town saying this shouldn't happen. You're not going to do that. It's almost like my daughter didn't get kicked out of school for 4 months because she refused to wear a mask, which you forced her to do, which you didn't because you just kicked her out of school because you violated her constitutional rights. But now suddenly it's like, oh, or New York City and Boston, all these places that fired their EMS workers and their police and everything, the most important people you have, fired them. Then the Supreme Court ruled that you have to actually rehire them and pay them back pay because you broke the law. You can't do that.
Wow.
It's too bad there weren't some people standing up saying, hey, this isn't right. But no, we're the conspiracy theory people because...
Well, we didn't go get a journalism degree from Vassar or wherever they go for journalism degrees these days.
Yeah. I mean, the newest thing I saw on earlier, it just blows my mind, is this more peddling bullshit from the mainstream media. Is MSNBC is claiming fitness is a right-wing obsession. And Musk and Joe Rogan have been mocking this bullshit. So I'm like, oh, so now you want to be physically fit and healthy. It's a right-wing conspiracy because, let's think it, the left wants you to be dumb, fat, and stupid so that way they can control you.
Well, they definitely don't want your doctor telling you to eat healthy.
Right. It's funny, you don't hear much of that stuff. You didn't hear anything about the vitamins you could take that would have helped during the whole COVID thing either.
Exercise, the fresh air.
Yeah, it's interesting.
People getting arrested for going outside.
Yeah.
Like, everybody should be ashamed. Like, even though you and I feel like we tried to stand up with whatever platform that we had, which was at the meetings, right? Like, we all failed. Everybody failed each other. Even, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though we fought, like, did I fight hard enough? You know, like, but when I say fight, I mean, like, did I go against the system and like,
Problem is, you need numbers. Me and you end up in jail. No one gives a shit. I mean, a family might, but that disappeared. That's a piece of
yeah,
cake.
I'm like, oh, see, this is why you keep your mouth shut and pay your taxes
Right.
and do what you're supposed to do, so you don't go to jail. Well, the whole point is like, what's worse?
Right. But when 10 million people or 20 million people or 80 million people or 100 million people start saying, you know what, F you, you know what, you can spend all the money on Ukraine you want. We're not going to pay you. We are the bank you're stealing from. We're not going to pay you anymore. I don't care if you're left, right. It doesn't matter. You're all the same. They're the elite class. It's always been this race thing in this country, always. And it's always been the government and the media and everything trying to fuel it. Because, you know, if black people and white people are fighting each other, they won't realize how they're getting screwed by the government.
Yeah.
We got to stop fighting one another. The real enemy here are all these elites out there that think, and I'm not talking elite like, oh, you think you're an elite person. No. I'm talking these rich pieces of shit that are out there trying to block the sun out to make it so that, you know, it'll save the earth. It's people like that. It's Charles Schwab. It's all those freaking people in the central banking system.
Yeah, it's
those people
shutting down
Soros.
the pipeline so that
Yes.
you have to use their trains. What's his
Yes.
name? You know what I'm talking
Warren
about.
Buffett. They're all, and he's conservative. All pieces of shit elitists that think they're better than you and laugh in your face.
Yeah, because all we are is a money stream, so
Yes.
they can do whatever they want. Like, I don't even.
Billions of dollars, it's not enough. Like, if I developed something and was like, hey, Tim, you're now a billionaire, I'd be like, cool, I'm done. I'm going to go, like, chill out. I'm going to give money to so many people to try to help them. No, these pieces of shit just say, oh, let's come up with something else that I can make more money because a billion's not enough. I need 100 billion or 50 billion or, you know, it's a joke.
Well, they help develop and cause problems, and they just happen to have the solution already there waiting.
Amazing.
And then they make more money off of the solution that they already have prepared for the problem that came out of nowhere.
Like, I mysteriously leave the FDA and then I get a job at Pfizer, or I leave the CDC and I get a job at Moderna, or it's just
Or
coincidental.
you leave Moderna for a year or two,
Yeah.
take a break, and you go work at the CDC.
All right.
Usually don't go backwards, but you
Yeah.
can flop both ways.
Or you wrote the laws on something and then you go work for the company that exploit those laws.
I was going to say, or you retire from the military and then you go work for the military-industrial complex and then go influence your buddies to buy said military-industrial complex products. It's the oldest trick in the book.
And just like you use all the insider trading, Pelosi and those people to
Oh yeah, the whole
get rich.
the whole stock market is a scam. It's just a scam. Everything is a scam for the little guy like us,
Right.
like normal, like middle of the road. Just people are like, oh, I got money, I want to invest in the stock market. And it's like, and it's gone. You know, you put money in there, and they're like, thanks, we'll take that. It's just the system is rigged, and it has been for a long time. And I really wish the generation, the boomers back whenever they killed Kennedy, would have done something.
Yeah, because that's kind of where it started.
Well, it started. I mean, it started further back than that.
Yeah.
But like, in our lifetime,
Well,
like
1918.
our parents, our generational influence could have stopped. Should have done something whenever they're like, oh, we're going to do this investigation and we'll release it 60 years. And then they still don't even release it. Here it is, so it's 60 years,
I mean,
however long it is later.
I mean, you go back to the generation before that, they were too busy fighting World War II, so more chaos and stuff. And then, like you said, you get into the 50s.
But see, like for me, here's where my frustration comes in, because I've been going all over the place today because I'm annoyed with taxes. I'm annoyed that we have people like this guy knew what he was doing and targeted our town for whatever reason to steal your trailer. But at the end of the day, like we got to do better. We deserve better as people.
Yeah, and stop listening to everybody and just say, like, you have to do this. No, you don't have,
have to do
shit.
anything.
If it ain't written in that book right there, you don't have to do it.
So when we're talking on like a school board matter or whatever, right? Like I want the kids to have good manners or whatever, but that doesn't mean that you don't have a say. You can't question authority, because I believe that a big problem is people don't question authority enough.
Right.
And so that doesn't mean I want kids to be disrespectful, but I want, like, if you hear something and it doesn't sound right, you should stand up for yourself and your other classmates and have that conversation. And that goes from the schooling all the way up to now. Like, if something doesn't sound right and we say something, and then people are like, oh, you just misremembered that. Well, like, we can actually go to tape all the time. There's all kinds of tape where you can actually show, this is what you said, this is what he said, this is what she said, and you lay it all out. And then we're still considered like, well, you're crazy. It's because people can't accept that there's just bad things going on around them. There are bad things happening all around us.
Just wake up. You were fooled. No one cares.
Yeah, we were all bamboozled at different levels. Like, I wasn't bamboozled with the COVID thing. I don't think. Maybe, who knows? Like, the jury's still out there because I don't know what to trust anymore. And that's when, once you realize that, you got to trust yourself and find some good people to surround yourself with. That's all that matters. Because we all make mistakes. You're going to make a mistake.
Yeah.
But
we fucking own it, though.
But own it, yeah. Like, that's where.
Hey, Tim, you were wrong
women,
about that. How many times have we corrected ourselves on the show because we said something like, "Oh, you're right."
6. I don't know, but I mean, it's not very often that we.
130 shows, and it's been a handful.
Yeah,
and it's always been like small things, like, "Oh, sorry, you're right, I was wrong. I'll correct it."
Yeah, like, there's nothing wrong with making a mistake and then fixing it.
So speaking of misremembering, so last Monday after the show and the meeting, I didn't go to the meeting because I just had enough, I guess. I mean, I just been working a lot going on.
It's been a busy summer, Tim.
Yeah. Just had a baby, like.
Yeah, you got a lot going on.
So I didn't go to the meeting. So Hunter was, I don't know, he turned his resignation in for January 1 of 24. So basically the last day of December of this year, he's done. The select board, no, I'm just kind of recapping from the meeting, said that they saw that and decided to take his resignation now, which makes sense, being we're getting sued by Spring Street and I think even Sunapee Street over the cost of hooking up sewer fees and all this whatever. So I was like, oh, sweet, they got rid of Hunter. He's gone. So that's good news for our town, I think. Some people disagree, but I think that number will be pretty damn small. But then come to find out, like, he's kind of not there, but he's a consultant now. So he's consulting on some of the projects he's been working on, which means we're still paying him. So the rumor is, and this comes from a good source, so I feel comfortable saying it, is he's getting paid till December. He's at home. But something I've kind of known about for a little bit, like some mumblings of it, and now I'm pretty confident. I was going to actually stop somewhere and try to confirm it earlier today, but I'm just going to go for it anyways because I just honestly don't give a shit. But, well, allegedly, there's a sexual harassment lawsuit against the town because of Hunter, and he can't be in the building anymore. So that seems like, so it's almost like, to me, it feels like, oh, so they just sent him home. They're going to pay him, though. They'll still use him for whatever they need him for. And so what? We'll get more of our tax money that he's cost us, basically. And like I say it allegedly because it hasn't officially been, like, I haven't seen it in a paper or something, but I know some things from conversations I've had with some people in the past, and then some other stuff come out, and I've heard this from somebody too, but sounds like that's a good possibility of why it was done so soon too. But so,
but he's not the town manager anymore.
No, Paul Brown is the interim town manager. I am excited about that in one way, for now, because Paul has covered for the town before.
But like Hunter shouldn't be influencing any decisions in the town.
No, it shouldn't be.
Okay.
Which, that's the important thing at the end of the day, because I would sit here a week ago and say, I don't give a shit, just pay him to December, just get rid of him because he's detrimental to our town. And I still believe that, so I can't then re-say, wow, why are we paying him? Well, the point is, he should be terminated. He's got nothing to do with the So I don't know. We'll see. But I feel bad for Paul Brown, though, because Paul is the finance guy, which he's done for many, many, many years. He's now interim town manager, and he's like the interim head of the DPW because Todd's gone. So he's kind of got all these roles, which I feel bad, and I really hope they're compensating him more than his normal financial pay because he's basically three people, like the three highest positions in the town.
They should. Like,
I would imagine they are, you know.
To me, that's a common sense thing, but then like,
Yeah.
but sometimes the common sense things don't occur so easily in this back ass world we live in.
Yeah. So, you know, like I said, I think I said it at the last school board meeting last week, is like, okay, now we're at a good time. This is a time for us to rebuild Newport and get solid people that we can trust and that will do a good job for us. And for many years, we had a lot of people that were good, solid people, and then they ran away, which, you know, Todd ran away a lot of them. Hunter ran away a lot of them. I also do feel slightly maybe that I've been a little harsh on Todd because my guess is he was kind of just Hunter's puppet at the end of the day, you know, and like he's the boss, and so he probably wasn't as bad of a bad guy as, you know, it's been made, but then it was ironic because John, I don't know his last name, but he was the previous head of the water sewer department, I believe, posts on Truly Newport just before the meeting his experience and how he literally says in the thing from an employee that was high up, you know, said that every single day that he ever worked in this town, he was harassed by Hunter and Todd, and how the town owes him 88 hours of vacation time. They refused to pay him. He would work 36 hours straight because of like an emergency flood kind of situation. And he's like, yeah, I know I'm salary, but there's a clause written in the law that if they're salary, but they're working for something like that you can you compensate them for that.
I mean, it's only the right thing to do, by the way.
Right.
Like, makes
no sense.
I get it if you're salary, but like,
right.
Even then, like, just.
So.
I don't like, I get frustrated dealing with government type stuff because people hide behind.
Yeah.
Like, just do the right thing by people. Like, at the end of the day, if you're not sure what the right thing to do is, then you pause and maybe you don't take an action. But if deep down you're like, oh, this feels right, then that's probably the right thing.
Right.
But trust your instincts.
Well, Bert kind of said at the meeting, it's like, the town's going to get...
Most people are good.
Yeah. Well, town's going to get $420,000 for Spring Street to be built. Then just hook the sewer up for $20,000, which is what they originally want to pay them, because then they're online. And I get it. Technically, they got no choice. You don't hook up, you got a piece of junk sitting there you can't do anything with. But unlike Sunapee Street, who hasn't done nothing for you except put their hand out, and I know his hand's out more, so we'll wait to see what happens down the road. I really hope the select board doesn't cave on that, because I'll be freaking Bert Spalding times 100 when he's pissed off about shit, because no, fuck you. If you can't afford to build it. And another thing I found out, and this was confirmed because I had my wife call because I heard 2 rumors about it, and I was like, kind of struggling with it. But workforce housing really isn't a thing. It's low income housing. You don't have to have a job to live there. And I know this because my wife's mother has like an aid or whatever from a brain injury thing, whatever. And I don't get too into it because it's no one's damn business. But she has a caseworker from the state who said, oh, we can get you in there, but you couldn't get in until October. And the weird thing is it's not all sold out, which I thought it would be. But and we're like, well, how can she get in there? She has an income like Social Security or whatever, but she doesn't work, right? I mean, she's obviously a retirement age and stuff, so she doesn't have to. And they're like, well, no, that's not a requirement. You don't have to work. You just have to have an income coming in. So if you're living off the government with an income coming in because you're overweight and you collect SSI or whatever the hell it is, as long as you make enough, you can live there. But you can't make more than $42,000 a year for at least a single bedroom. You can't live there. So I asked Andrew, I was like, can you call and like confirm some of this stuff? Because when I say something to somebody, I want to make sure I'm right. She called. She had a great conversation with the person that's running the whole thing. That part of it, not the building and stuff, but that part of it getting in. She's like, oh, send me an application, whatever. They sent all the guidelines and everything. She's like, yeah, it's not. The federal government uses it's low income housing. Other people use workforce, but there's no difference between workforce and workforce. You can make a little bit more money, but it still falls in the low income. So my thing was like, wait a minute, we were sold workforce housing,
Not low income.
not low income. Because if they sold us low income housing, I guarantee we would have said no.
Well,
I mean, I'm confident. I know I would have.
Tim, at the meeting, I was there. The superintendent was there, maybe interim at the time. I can't recall how far back this was. But a representative for either Spring Street or the Ruger Mill building, whatever that is, right? Is that was the Ruger
Yes.
Mill? Their spokesperson stood up and said, a couple of years ago, towns wouldn't let housing like this into them, but now the state has made the conditions just right so that towns are letting them. That is translation to we are bribing towns to allow this type of housing to be built in their towns. Like, I'm not trying to be mean or disrespectful or anything else, but that literally were his words. Like, you can go back and watch the tape from, it's in the last couple of months.
Well, I guess
From the select board meeting.
Yeah.
From one of it was like their representatives stood up and they talked about so this might have been a few months ago because they also talked about the hookup fees at that meeting because they were angry about it. So this is probably a couple months ago. But they admit and acknowledge that the towns would not let housing like this in just a couple of years ago until the federal government bribed us with $1 million payouts. So just so you know, this isn't my interpretation. You can watch him and listen to his words.
Yeah, and let's go.
I mean, I can probably find it and
I'll
tag
go
it.
to another meeting and bring something up. So if Spring Street and Sunapee Street, but Spring Street because that's being built right now. So if that wrecks our town and turns to shit, I just want to point something out. Quote, but my interpretation of the quote, not direct words, but
Summarization.
okay, of Jeff Kessel's words were, yes, Tim, well, he didn't say Tim, but he was talking to me and Steve because I said something, if I found out that they were getting money out of this deal,
yeah,
that I would
right.
make sure that they were in fucking jail for bribery and whatever. And then he came to the school board meeting and said that, yes, we're in bed with someone, it's Sununu and, blah, blah, blah. So if it all turns to shit, just remember the select board at the time, they knew full well what was happening, but they were bribed enough with $10,000 a unit that they really didn't give a shit. So if Springfield wrecks their school because they get too many kids in there and now it's huge fluctuation school, just remember, well, we got $420,000 out of Spring Street for this deal. So, and just remember the people saying that when voting's up in March.
Yeah.
Or next March, I think.
It was Jeff Kessler at a school board meeting, and I think he said to call him Dirty Deeds or something. He had some weird.
Yeah.
Remember that? It was like awkward.
Sayer's up this coming March. Kessel's up a year after that.
Oh, really? Kessler's got another year?
Anyways,
That's
So-
interesting.
that's kind of the catch up on what's happening in town.
I mean, we've been all over the place. I've jumped.
have.
I've jumped all over the place between. I mean, I don't even. It's hard to even make sense of it in my head. I'm so frustrated with the state of affairs in this country.
But I think the people that are watching get the point.
I think they know. At the end of the day, it's keep your head on a swivel, find good friends.
Lock your shit. Well, no. If you lock your shit up, doesn't matter. You lock it. They steal it anyways.
Yeah, he. It took him a while. Old weakling.
Yeah, little shitbag cut my lock off. Stole it.
Old noodle arms.
I mean, stole it literally right from the school parking lot, out back and probably.
During daylight, too. It was still daylight.
Daylight, 7:20.
People
evening.
probably playing basketball 100 yards over from him.
Yeah.
Didn't care.
Didn't care. Didn't think probably there was any cameras either. So I hope they catch him. I honestly hope I catch him first, but because at the end of the day, I was telling you, I was coming back to your house after we dropped my other trailer off at my house. And then I was like, you know what, though, that really gets me, Steve, is at the end of the day, them catching them is what, like, it hurts. I mean, I just lost 12, 13 grand right there. I didn't have insurance on it. I was so new. My wife just had a baby. Like, we didn't have time to put in
I get
whatever.
it, man.
So, but at the end of the day, it's like, all right, well, if those two fucking shitbags end up in jail for a year or two or something, that would make me feel a little better. But then I'm like, you know what, though? Some judge, so what is it? Charlie Daniels says some panty waste judge or whatever, freaking lets a drug dealer go. they're just going to slap them on the wrist, be like, oh, you know, they've had a tough life and blah, blah, blah.
That's the millennialization of America.
I don't care what kind of life you had. You stole from me. I work my ass off for what I have to provide for my family. And by the way, between adult kids and young, I have 8 kids to, like, I don't feed them all now, but most of them. I have a family. I have a business. And then you come and steal from me.
What a low life! Like,
yeah, you're a low life piece of shit, and you better pray I don't see you before the fucking
karma were a real thing. This person would have a very bad day.
Yeah. So
But instead, you're right. The judge would be like, "Well, we're so sorry that this is your 12th time getting caught stealing," because he obviously he knew what he was doing, so he's been caught before and was trying to minimize his ability or the ability of the cops to catch him. The judge will definitely give him a break because he deserves it. Because, you know, it's your fault, actually, that he's stealing your trailer. Because you didn't do enough for him whenever, you know, you had the opportunity.
Right.
So
I didn't do enough.
You actually owe him an apology for not having it unlocked for him when he came to steal it.
Right. Lucky he didn't cut his hand or something when he was stealing, because he'd probably sue me and win for that, too, because, you know.
He's watching at home, slicing his hand up.
Probably. Yeah. Anyways, we wrap the show up. Try and do shorter shows more often if possible.
Well, we need to stay more on point. Next time I need to bring my notepad. So
I mean, this show will probably get us banned from YouTube. We said a lot of things that...
I don't even think anything I said made sense. I don't think I ever actually got to a conclusion. So I think I'm good.
But I think I
have a lot of open-ended conversations that never went... I never really...
Oh, I'm right on point with everything.
I know you are, but
trust me, I'm trying to wrap the show up because there's things I want to say that
let's
will get me in trouble.
Let's wrap it up.
So
lock it up, Tim.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Literally lock up your trailer.
Yeah.
Next time with chains on the tires.
Chains on the tires and C4 under the freaking hitch. So, yeah. What the hell was I going to say? Tonight, select board meeting, 6:30. People should go and...
There's another one tonight. Didn't they just have one last week?
Yeah, I think it's because of the 4th of July. Yeah, I don't know. That's what the deal is. Though.
I need to take a break for a little while. I'm about ready for a vacation again.
I'm ready for vacation now, especially. I still have a freaking job to finish. Yeah. But, yeah, get out. Enjoy the weather. At some point when I'm just trying to let the police do their job to capitalize on the chance of catching this person. But I would hope in the next couple of days that Paul, who's a resource officer who's doing the whole thing, will post the pictures, because I really think someone's going to see the truck and or whatever and be like, oh, I know that truck, whatever. So hopefully we can catch the people. So once that happens, I will always put on the show, but I'll also put on my personal Facebook and stuff. But,
hey, for as angry as we are, though, we want everybody to be happy and. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want people to
not him. I want him to fucking die in a fiery crash.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit if he's got kids or not.
Yeah, well, that's tough.
Yeah. He's just going to fuck those kids up anyways and turn them into himself, so.
With that being said...
Have a good day. Thanks for watching the Tim and Steve show for the last time. We'll talk to you next time.
The fabric that they fabricate, they feed us lies, manipulate, intimidate through fear and force, forcing us to sit and wait till we come together, congregate, and then we liberate. Praying that you give me strength to find some love amongst the hate. Marching on these streets of blood till I see the golden gates. Troubadour and troubled souls, one of God's servants. Blades out, cut the grass till we see the serpents.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you.